Okay, the really only two options that you have when dealing with situations in your life, particularly ones that when things don't go your way. You basically have two options. You can either get bitter or you can get better, right? And here's the thing. One thing I don't think enough people in the self improvement space talk about is the fact that sometimes things don't go your way through no fault of your own. Like sometimes your complaints are justified. Like sometimes things happen to you unfairly without question. And sometimes things don't even happen for a reason. I never bought into the idea that everything happens for a reason, right? If you look at a starving child in Africa with no shoes dying of malaria, I don't think there's a reason for that, right? So sometimes you have to look at the circumstances that are handed to you and realize that even if they aren't your way, even if it doesn't seem to be happening for a rhyme or reason that's there to help you, you can only take two lanes from that. You can either get bitter, which is what most people do, or you can get better, right? So when you get bitter, most people, this is kind of a recurring theme in what I talk about. Life has a way of turning people bitter. It has a way of turning people jaded. It has a way of turning people cynical because all of a sudden, after a couple things don't go your way, life can quickly become a slippery slope where you end up being stuck. And then you look up and it's really hard to look at yourself and be like, wow, there were some things outside of my control that I didn't have anything to do with, but my reactions to them weren't appropriate. Like it's hard to look at yourself and take accountability. It's hard for everybody to look at themselves and take accountability. It's hard for me, and I'm supposed to be a self-improvement guy, right? But what's my first instinct? What's your first instinct when something goes wrong? Your first instinct is to blame anybody else but yourself, right? Because the only path that you can go on after you take full accountability is getting better, right? And that's kind of the theme of this entire channel. Getting better is hard. Self-improvement is hard. Anybody who tells you that self-improvement is easy is lying to you. They're trying to scam you, okay? Self-improvement, for the most part, is pretty ineffectual. What do I mean by that? It's not necessarily a game you can win. Like, you're not going to wake up and become this self-actualized person. Like, you wish that you can get to 100%, but like you'd be miles ahead of everyone else even if you just got to like 10%. Like that's where you're trying to get to. Most people, as far as, fulfilling their highest dreams or just becoming the most best actualized productive version, most people were operating basically on zero. Most people are sleepwalking. So even if you want to go on the self-improvement journey, don't think that you're going to become this super self-actualized person. No, you'll probably get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% better, right? It's why you have to watch so many videos, read so many books, repeat so many times, because getting better can be an extremely difficult process. But it's often the better one in the long run because what else are you going to do? The only other option is to get bitter. It's like improve, get bitter. Improve, get bitter. Like, so the other video I talked about, old people who argue in the store about coupons. They're bitter. Like everything else important has kind of fell off to the wayside and all they have left is triviality. So that's what bitterness gets you. So going on the path of getting better, saying to yourself that, even if some things happen to you that weren't your fault, like your reactions to them matter. And oftentimes, if you're being honest with yourself, you do play a pretty big role in situations that go south for you too. Taking personal responsibility, it's probably one of the worst feelings in the world because you would think that you would take care of yourself. Like you're the number one person in charge of you. So that's a major letdown and it's hard to deal with psychologically. Like you care about yourself more than anybody else, yet you still let yourself down. So it's kind of like your number one quote unquote cheerleader in the world still is unable to help you. And that's what makes you feel like really bad, right? So that's why it's hard to own up to your mistakes and get better, because you're like, I feel like I should be looking out for myself, but I'm not. I'm letting things go to the wayside. So taking responsibility for yourself, while very painful, can be very painful in the short term, can lead to you getting better. Jim Rohn, my favorite, self-improvement, the person who got me into self-improvement actually, has a quote that says, "Don't wish things were easier. Wish you were better," right? Don't wish for less problems, but wish for more skills. See, you can't control the chaos that life throws your way. You can't control circumstances that might befall on you. You can't control other people as much as you'd like to. So part of understanding that you don't really have that much control of all the things swirling around you, you have to focus on you being the person who is capable of dealing with those situations and just getting better, right? In terms of getting better, you know what they say? They say success is the best revenge, right? So if you feel like people have wronged you, just go improve yourself. You know what they say? You can't have beef with other people. Being angry with other people is like drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. You can blame society, but the number one way to, give a throbbing middle finger to society is to go out and win. So oftentimes, improving yourself gives you everything you want anyways. If you have a chip on your shoulder, it helps you get that, feeling like you made it, and screw you to society around you. It makes you take more personal responsibility and accountability. It makes you not be a bitter person and still open yourself up to opportunities and possibilities, because the bitter person can't do that. So it's a pretty simple choice, but most people choose bitter. We're in a very bitter society right now. I mean, look at the news, look at the media, look at your social media. Like, there's a lot of complaining and outrage and gossip and malevolence and maliciousness and hatred, right? It's because improving yourself and facing the evil voice of self-doubt is very hard. In the book The War of Art, the author talks about the fact that Hitler was an aspiring artist. And he said that Hitler was so afraid of his calling to be an artist that, starting a war and trying to take over the world and commit genocide was actually easier. Kind of tongue in cheek, but you see that dichotomy of, the road to hell and the road to getting better, and facing your inner demons and facing your self-doubt, which, self-doubt is quite the beast to conquer, but alas, it's the only way to get what you want. So don't get bitter, get better. Okay, like, comment, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you're on IG, like, follow. Let me show for a little bit. You 2.0, get the book. I do these videos and sell my book, so I don't have to sell you $2,000 get rich courses. So just like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.